What is up, folks? You're on Hustle Every Day. My name is Daniel, and today we're taking a look at another very inexpensive tool that I think could probably make your life a lot easier. What I'm talking about is a bead blaster. A bead blaster, no, it does not shoot beads, though it probably could. It is actually a tool to help you get your tire back on the bead. For me, it's very useful with my lawnmowers and things of that nature, but the one I purchased, I think probably could be used on a larger tire. So without further ado, let's turn the camera around. I'm gonna show you the bead blaster. I'm gonna show you how it works, show you some of the aspects of the bead blaster, and I've actually popped one of my mower tires off the bead so I can show you this tool working. So here it is. The one I bought is called the Tyre with a Y Explosion 8 liter. It is one of the longer tanks. They do make them, they're a little shorter and fatter. I liked the one with less girth, a little bit longer. I felt like it'd be easier to hold. You have a handle right here that lets some air out. That was just a very small amount. The air runs up through this tube. This is a piece of the compressor, I guess, that helps blast the air through. I did change this around. I think I paid $2 or $3 for one of these from Harbor Freight because the one it came with was in bar, had the liquid inside, and I just personally like to read in PSI. There's a nice carry handle right here. You have an air release, and this is where you hook up your air input. Turn your valve. It's going to let the air in. When you hit around 110, 120 PSI, that is when you're going to shut the valve off and you are ready to go. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull my air compressor over here. I'm going to plug it in, run this thing up to about 120 PSI. We'll set the camera up and I'll show you exactly how this tool works. All right, guys, so the air compressor is showing about 140 PSI. This thing takes about 15 to 120. What I'm going to do is overfill it so that you can see what happens when it overfills. And then we'll go ahead and hook up to the tire, blast the bead. You can see how this thing works. You can see I'm just hooking up my quick connection. We'll turn the valve, it's filling up. In a second it's gonna pop. Don't prove me wrong. We're getting there. We're about ready to go. There we go. And then once it lets out enough air, that'll pop back in. You can push it on its own. When you get down, about 120. Right now, I am actually went down to about 80, so we'll add a little bit more in. There we go. We're at about 110 PSI, 115. So I'll go ahead and stop it there. And we're going to hook it up to the tire. You guys can see how this works. There we go. You guys can see how it's lined up in there. As you can see, it is back on the bead, but ironically enough, I forgot to put this little guy, the valve stem, back in. But even with that, with not having that in, I do believe that it is back on the bead. So give me a second, I'm gonna go ahead and hook up my air tool and we'll see if it takes air. And I will say, it doesn't work every time, but if you line it up right, about 99% of the time, it will work for you. Let's see if it holds it. There we go. We're on. Fortunately, this doesn't have the gauge on it, so I'll have to hook a tire gauge up to it, but we're probably right about there. So there you go. With that said, that is the Tyre Explosion 9000, or 8L for 8 liter, as they call it. It comes in many different names, but overall, they all do the same exact thing. And if you use them right, they will work. And if you cut some potatoes up and stick them down there, you can shoot a potato about 300 feet into the sky. So you can have some fun with these things. But with that said, I'm Daniel. You've been watching Hustle every day, and if you would subscribe, like, leave a comment, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.